That's the only reason you're here.
Yes. I've thought a lot about it. And I've realized that you, me... I think this is very important.
Well, this is a new one. I'm so moved. I can't even hold my teacup.
Do you not want to be friends with me? Or is it that you prefer being co-workers?
What is this, Columbina? Are you deliberately testing my patience threshold? Right now, my politeness module is active. But if you say another word, I swear I'll shut it down.
If your politeness module was active, wouldn't you say the word please at some point?
Polonia, please see Lady Columbina to the door.
Will you still invite me to your next tea party?
What?
Yes, I think you will. Bye-bye, dear Sandrone.
Ôi, trên đỉnh có thần đồng à? Tí lấy sau.
Last time, the Wild Hunt escorted you out. Would you rather I handled it myself?
We just wanted to, you know...
Why? Out of concern for my safety?
Mostly because you kind of helped us out, so we just wanted to check you were okay. Looks like I got your rope.
Oh, don't you worry about that. Tea time is already a write-off. The visitor before... If you're in the mood for tea, go ahead and help yourself. Otherwise, it's going to waste. My coasters are still missing action, though. Use this notebook instead.
Whoa! Pretty heavy.
You can ignore those. They're just dumb scribbling. I doodle and write in my free time. Sometimes I remember, and other times, I grit my teeth and note down all the crazy nonsense going on. Trying to predict the future is like daydreaming. And writing about the present just makes me furious. The past is my favorite. Huh. Although, having said that, the only vaguely interesting memory in my past is probably that guy they call... Who else? Pretty much all the Mecha and Fontaine are his
Wait, are you saying you know him?
I mean, I guess we were friendly enough. Yep. In fact, I'm probably the only normal. We used to chat occasionally back when he was still around. Before he passed away, I honored his request. But I did I mean, I couldn't let the genius of Lord Artificer, Alain...
So, that's where the...
I just told you. Those are my equivalent of crossword puzzles. They're just dumb formula. Alain's work was like epic poetry. The formulas in my notebook are just... Not that there's anything bad about them. I mean, at least, solving those riddles isn't going to hurt anyone. Except me. Anyway, while we're on the topic, I might as well tell you about what happened to him and his friend. Alain Guillotin had two close buddies, Rene and Jacob. They spent their childhood years together in the Nazissenkreuz Institute. They were all quite competitive, so there was some rivalry between them. But it was a friendly rivalry. But beneath the friendship and the rivalry ran something deeper. Unfortunately, childhood would end. The prophecy would come true, a mad dream that would normally only capture the minds of lunatics. And if Rene and Alain had been people of lesser wits, but alas, they were some of the sharpest minds around. They nurtured the first of them to fall under its spell was Rene. Against Alain's wishes, he persisted in experimenting on a mutual friend of theirs to try and save their life. Alain did not approve and parted with it's complicated. Alain wanted to believe that Rene only did what he did for the sake of their friend. Perhaps the seed that would grow into a nightmare had already sprouted in Rene's mind. Even then, the next time they met, Rene's soul had been completely engulfed by the dream of salvation. And although that wave died down eventually, I hear that it just recently came back with a vengeance. As I understand, Rene wanted to live out his dream of salvation once more. But I'm told that the attempted resurgence finally died out for good. At long last, what do you think of Rene? Do you admire his transcendent genius? His view that any price was worth paying? Or do you despise him? Dismiss him as an evil madman? Same difference, really. Just a matter of perspective. What a cop-out. But I suspect you'd have a more incisive... I don't like fanatics who give up their whole lives for their ideology. Nor do I like fools who let their... Maybe I could understand if Rene had just been an ordinary person. Anyway, that's enough about Rene. Now, moving on to Alain Guillotin. He managed to put a stop to the first storm whipped up by Rene. To his credit, I suppose, the loss of his family and friends was purely a tragic accident. After that, the only thing supporting his work was the same dream that had dragged his... But although the desire to save Fontaine drove him to found the Fontaine Research Institute, Alain continued to reject any... I think that formulas and machines derived solely from human intellect were the only thing that gave him a sense of spiritual comfort. Yet Alain's intellect was simply too great. It barely left him space to breathe in his lifetime. Once he realized that the end of his life was approaching, he finally accepted the truth. The Knoxissenkreuz Institute needed someone. He quit working on his formulas, trading them in for the fairy tales that had played such a formative role. He told me that the director of the Knoxissenkreuz Institute used to read those fairy tales to the children. I think that all he wanted at that time in his life was to be able to sleep deeply without being plagued by depression. At the very end, he laid down to rest in the ruins of the former Knoxissenkreuz Institute orphanage. Many years after that, tensions over competing dreams would once again cause a rift. This time between members of the Fontaine Research, and that is the story of two people from the Knoxissenkreuz Institute who both wanted to save the world. One went all in on his fantasy of salvation without ever looking back, and the other sought desperately to burn bright in his life. Even I do sometimes wonder what even the grandest tree starts as a tiny seed. So perhaps they were young children with friends and family who mattered to them, desires to explore the meaning of life. Or maybe they just wanted to find something to anchor themselves within the chaos. But instead, the search for their own salvation took them down the wrong... Do you think the desire to save oneself is enough of a justification to try and save the world? You don't know? I guess that's a fair answer. Alain was much more straightforward about it. I asked him the same question back when he was in... Yes, it's enough. That was all he said before getting right back to his work. He was, all right, tea time's over. I owe Arlecchino a favor for telling me these stories. I'll have to bring a whole sack of gifts the next time I visit them. I'm gonna go tinker with Polonia now. You guys can do whatever you want. Polonia, exit hub.